This is the Common Sense Christian Financial Channel. If you've been watching this series, we've been talking about paying yourself first. After you have paid your taxes, your take-home pay, after you have considered what you want to give to God, and that's a very personal decision, but we are to give our first and our best to God. So you, if you're married, you and your spouse sit down and figure out what you want to do on that. But after that, you've now got an amount. This is what you're going to be spending for your budget. What are you going to do with that? Well, my encouragement is to take the first 10% of what you have left over and have it as a mine to keep account or a pay yourself first account. It's a savings account that will allow you to do some things that may take a while to accomplish, but by starting right now, you're going to find that there are some things that you're able to do that are not only going to give you a peace of mind, but are also going to be very enjoyable. And so let's talk about that. If you haven't already looked at the video, what do I do if I've already blown my budget? I'd encourage you to do that. It shows how we can reduce some of our unnecessary expenses to the point where we can start saving. Most people just live from paycheck to paycheck, and they can diddy-bop along, as Dave Ramsey would say, for a while doing that. But after a while, this type of strategy or lack of a strategy will catch up to you. People get in over their head financially. Sometimes they get so far underwater with debt that they become discouraged. And so if we can do some prudent things to kind of head off some financial problems, I believe we're going to have a lot happier life. I know we're going to be a much better steward of God's resources. And again, there's going to be a peace that maybe you haven't enjoyed before, not to mention an excitement, because you're not just living day by day. Now you're starting to look to the future, and because you're starting to save something, you're starting to have a little excitement about the potential for the future. Now, what if you haven't started yet? Maybe you're not just getting out of high school or college and beginning with a fresh slate. Maybe you've already made a lot of mistakes. Maybe you're older and you're thinking it's just too late to start. And the answer is it's not. Dave Chilton, in his book, The Wealthy Barber, had some advice in there that I thought was just fantastic. He said, the best time to plant an oak tree is 20 years ago. The next best time is now. You cannot go back and correct the mistakes of the past by investing in the past. But what you can do is you can start now. If you've been digging yourself a hole, stop digging and start doing some prudent things with your money. And again, that's what this series of videos hopefully will help you do. It will at least give you some ideas as far as how you might be able to do them. So, the first 10%, after the taxes have been taken out of your check, after you've given to God, I would recommend that you start a savings account. The average person's income, that's going to mean probably somewhere between $300 and $500 of savings each month. That's not a lot, but don't despise small beginnings, because you can take these small things, you can take this oak seed and you can plant it. And while it may take a few years to see any real progress, there's going to come a point where you have a mighty oak tree that's going to provide shade and shelter for the birds. You're going to have something that is financially stable in your life. And we all need that stability. We need the stability of God first and foremost. But part of that stability is in handling our finances in a godly way. So, King Solomon in Ecclesiastes chapter 11, verse 2, gave some of the best advice for your savings. He said, divide your portion to 7 or even to 8, for you do not know what disaster may come upon the land. The idea is, while we may not know that there will be emergencies and hard times, as far as the specific things that might happen in the future, we do know that this life comes with all sorts of emergencies and bad times. And so if you can have some savings and a little bit of prudent foresight, planning for things that even though you don't know specifically what they might be, but if you can start putting aside a little bit of money, it's going to help you get through those times, and then you're going to be able to help your loved ones through hard times. That's one of the things that my wife and I really consider to be an important part of our life, is to make sure our children, who are very responsible, by the way, but to make sure our children will be in good shape too if we do have some of the ups and downs that we sometimes have in our economy or in our individual lives. So here's some ideas as far as what to do with that 10%. If you divide it in several different ways, don't put all your eggs in one basket. You're going to have smaller accounts on these things, but you're going to have a diversification where some things will do good for a while and other things will do good later on. So get started. The first thing I'd encourage you to do is to take a portion of that, maybe just an eighth of it or a fourth of it, and pay down your high interest rate loans, your credit cards specifically. You're probably going to have a 24% interest rate somewhere along those lines if you carry a credit card balance. Let's say you have a $5,000 balance. Well, that's $100 a month in interest. Start paying that credit card down so that you can get rid of that and get on with the other things you'd like to do. But that's for one portion of it. Don't take it all, just take a portion of it and pay down some of these high interest rate loans. You're already making loan payments as far as your regular budget, but now pay a little bit more down. The next thing is to build a strategic pantry. You remember when COVID hit and all the madness that surrounded that. People went to the stores and emptied out the shelves. Toilet paper was hard to find for a while. Well, my wife and I had been building up a strategic pantry for a number of years. We had certain food items that were non-perishable or long-term perishable. Things like just a 20-pound bag of beans or a 20-pound bag of rice. They'll go a long way. It didn't cost a lot of money. We also would stock up on paper goods that we knew we would be using. Some of the automotive items, I changed my own oil, and so I had oil and oil filters on hand. But build up a strategic pantry of things that you know you'll use. Don't be stockpiling things that you don't use normally. But if you'll build a strategic pantry and give it some thought, it's going to give you a certain amount of security. And by the way, once you've built up this strategic pantry, then on these long-term, non-perishable or long-perishing items, you only have to buy them when they're on sale. If you've got a couple dozen razors on hand, you don't have to buy them the next time you use that last disposable razor from your bathroom cabinet because you've got them on hand. That helps you with your overall budget as well also. Now, the next thing, savings for an emergency. In cash. Have some cash on hand, either at the house or in a savings account, whatever it is, but emergencies do happen. And when they do happen, don't whine and complain about it if you have to spend your money that you've saved for that emergency. Just be grateful that you've got that money in savings. God allows us to take care of some things in advance, and I think that's one of the ways we can look at this savings, this cash savings account. Another item is physical silver or gold. I know that there are some financial advisors, Dave Ramsey in particular, that don't like this idea. Others will say put all your money into that. Neither is prudent. But I can tell you that when my wife and I got married, we started investing in a little silver every month, just maybe an ounce or two. And when we had a windfall, a tax return or a rebate that we weren't expecting, we might put a little bit more. That allowed us to accumulate through the years and save in a commodity that grows in value over the years. Sometimes it goes way down all of a sudden, but steadily through the years it kind of goes up and up and up. Let me give you an example. When I was born in 1960, you could buy a gallon of gas for a quarter. Today, you can take that same 1960 quarter, because it's made of silver, and you can buy nearly 2 gallons of gas. It's gone up steadily in value. And again, there's been times where it's just fallen off a cliff and lost its value all of a sudden. Don't worry, if you're accumulating, that means it's on sale. You can buy more that month. But again, the idea, buy something that's going to hold its value that's not necessarily cash. Another great area is mutual funds, stock market indexes. You can just take $50 a month, $100 a month, and start building up a mutual fund or an index fund. You can get a good broker who will help you set that up. But another great way to build money over time. And the nice thing about these two categories is they're a little bit hard to sell. And sometimes when you want to sell them, they're down in value. Well, this kind of gives you a forced savings. And the nice thing about these items is through the years, they typically show a pretty good return. And so that forced savings will be something that's a great benefit to you as the years go by. The next is a savings for a down payment, either for a house or maybe a piece of land that you want to build something on later on, or some big item. But that's another area you can do. You can get you a dream fund. Maybe you and your wife want to build a house on a lake someday. Well, you start that dream fund. 10% a month, or a portion of 10% a month, isn't going to give you a lot to start, but through the years it'll grow. And if you use your windfalls, an inheritance, an unexpected tax return, things like that, you can just put those directly into these accounts after you've given God his first and best portion, and they'll grow really fast. And as you start putting these things in these accounts, that's going to be one thing you're going to notice is through the years, each one of them is going to grow to a fairly handsome amount, and it's going to be something that you need to be prudent with. The last thing, savings for fun stuff. This is short-term fun stuff. When I was younger, a nice stereo, that was fun. Put it on a credit card, and it's not fun paying it off for the next 20 years. But if you have it saved, go in and buy it with cash. You can probably get a discount on it, and then you've got something that you're looking forward to. Season tickets to a baseball team that you really enjoy is another dream fund. You can have all sorts of ideas for that. But here are 7 or 8 categories that give you an idea of what to do with this 10% savings. And again, it's not financial advice. I don't know your situation, but you do. It is something to consider, though, and these are some areas that I believe you'll find to be very prudent. Long term, you'll be satisfied that you did it. One caution: these accounts, if you continue to put them in as your oak tree starts to grow, some of them are going to get pretty big. Don't get greedy. Don't make this your idol or your God. Don't forget that you're here to serve God in the most prudent way that you can. There's nothing wrong with, after you've taken care of his considerations first, the first and the best principle, then the rest of this is fine to use in whatever way you want to that's not sinful. But don't get greedy with it. Don't think this is going to be your salvation. It's still going to be God who takes care of us. We still need to be praying for our daily bread, as Jesus said in the Sermon on the Mount. These things can be taken away in an instant. But if you start getting some prudent habits, if you start getting your debt paid down and your savings built up, you're going to find that you can start dreaming in life again. You can start going to big, worthy, fun goals, significant goals. And that makes all the difference in life. Too many people, they just slog through life paycheck to paycheck, getting deeper and deeper into debt, and they just get to the point where life is no fun anymore. Maybe you're there right now. This is going to be one way to help you to get out of that hole you've been digging for yourself, and it will help you to start, I believe, having a little bit of encouragement and hope for the future. Remember, we're on our way to heaven. That's all the things that happen in life are just incidents on the way to heaven. If we can keep that in mind, we can have a good life, a prudent life, an enjoyable life, and then there will be heaven someday. This is going to help life be a little bit more manageable along the way. Hope this is something that is helpful to you. If you find it helpful, subscribe. We've put out a video a week on these things, and hopefully there'll be things that will help you to get your finances under control and maybe to start building for the future in some pretty significant ways. But again, thanks for listening. I hope we'll see you next time. God bless.